If you want to create a more successful life, you must create a winning mentality. Freedom to create your reality expands with the proper attention. It's through our attention that we experience the type of life we encounter each day, and there's a scientific reasoning to explain this. Your brain makes most of your decisions automatically for you, and here's how. It works on electrical impulses. Whenever a thought is sent out, it is merely an electrical charge that flies through our neurons. And when one of our neural pathways gets used on a regular basis through consistent types of thoughts, our body forms what is known as a myelin sheath, which is a sort of insulating covering around the axons of our neurons. Myelin is a fatty substance that wraps around the nerve fibers and serves to increase the speed of electrical communication between neurons. In other words, it allows the electrical impulses that happen during consistent types of thoughts to skip along the axon at a much faster rate. The signal appears to jump from one node to the next due to the myelin sheath. So what does this mean in layman's terms? The more you think a specific type of thought, the greater the chances that you will continue to think that type of thought in the future. The path of least resistance in your brain is the path that has the most consistent types of thoughts. When we think of something often, we will think about it more in the future, and this is why there's a psychology to high achievement. Here's an example of how this works. Let's say person A thinks a lot of negative thoughts. They think people are rude and mean, that life is unfair, that they have no power to control their life, and that they are undeserving of happiness anyway. They hold a failure mentality. Now look at person B. This person always thinks positive thoughts. They believe people are genuinely kind, that life always supports them, that they do have the power to control certain aspects of their life, and that they are worthy of happiness and abundance in all forms. They carry a winning mentality. In this example, person A is more likely to think of a negative outcome for most circumstances, whereas person B is more likely to think of the positive outcome for the same circumstances. If given the choice, both would probably choose the outcome that is most beneficial to them. However, approximately 95% of our mind's activity is unconscious, and that activity automatically regulates our decision-making and our behavior. So person A is more likely to make decisions that sabotage his or her efforts to have the better outcome based on the neural circuits that have been created through negativity and that fire so rapidly and automatically. This explains why a person might eat the candy bar that goes against their weight loss plan, or why someone might spend money on a new gadget when they're trying to save for something special. These are the types of decisions that we don't often control because they are automatically decided for us by our brain. In other words, the more thoughts we have of a certain type, the more decisions and actions we will make that are in alignment with those thoughts. What all of this means is this. When we take conscious control of our thoughts, we train our minds to make decisions and actions that align with those thoughts. Just as if we were to think consistently about how we can never have what we want, 95% of our decisions and actions would move us towards having that. If we were to think consistently about having the things we do want, 95% of our decisions and actions would move us towards the reality of that. It only takes an average of 30 to 60 days of regular habit of positive thinking to begin forming the new neural pathways with the automatic increased speed of electrical communication between neurons, and this is totally achievable. With thought alone, we can train our mind to make more beneficial decisions and take more beneficial actions on an unconscious and automatic basis. And because we each have an average of about 70,000 thoughts per day, simply improving just 1% of our thinking would mean that we are creating an average of about 700 more positive thoughts to create those automatic electrical impulses in our minds that drive us towards what we truly want. Here are a few simple ways to increase your winning mentality so you can begin creating a new neural network in your mind that pushes you automatically into achieving your desires. Number 1. Memorize a list of positive words. This sounds very simple, but here's why it's effective. When you force your brain to use positive words frequently, you make those words and their basic meaning more accessible, more connected, and more easily activated in your brain. Number 2. Think of something you want, and then ask yourself why you want it. This causes your passions and emotions to flurry, and your imagination to begin streaming. Your mind will automatically go in search of the positive reasons you would want this in your life, and begin to create new neural connections that relate to that when practiced consistently. Number 3. Acknowledge your negative thoughts that surface and reframe them. For example, if you were to automatically think, "Today is going to be terrible," reframe it by changing it to something like this: "Today might have some challenges, but I'm certain I can find solutions to those challenges." This helps your mind spin the negativity into something positive, while simultaneously telling it to look for solutions for you. And again, this strengthens positive neural pathways that become automatic. Try one or more of these processes for the next 30 to 60 days. Just by consciously thinking about something, we strengthen new neural pathways in our minds. And with consistency, we make it more likely that these pathways fire for us automatically and prompt us to make instantaneous decisions and actions that assist us in creating the life we truly want. Over time, this can create a tremendous amount of positive thoughts, lead you to a better quality of life, create the habit of a winning mentality, and make you automatically get closer to everything you think about.